No, no buzz. A Just Bees book club. Third one? This is the third one of these. Did not expect to come this far. Ugh, okay. Um, Today is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. I think this is going to be a shorter one. It's also a morning record. Wow. Wow. Um, this is like a not interesting pickup, really. It's just like I work at a bookstore. This book sells pretty well. I am, sort of running a campaign that I'm like trying to learn things about like farming and other kinds of naturalism. So it's sort of in my field of interest at the moment for other work. And it seems interesting. And so, yeah, as the sort of subtitle goes, indigenous wisdom, scientific knowledge, and the teaching of plants. Um, I am I'm more interested in pop science at this point than I've ever been in my life, which is interesting. Read Elizabeth Colbert's new book, Beneath the White Sky, I believe. Part of the End of Everything Astrophysically Speaking book. It's mustn't I don't remember the man's name, but One Straw Revolution I also read not that long ago. Um, that's a little less pop science, a little more nihilistic farming science, I guess. Um, really, yeah. This has been sort of a year for me to explore some of that stuff. I mean, the reality of the pop science stuff is that I've read a lot of pop cooking science. Literally one of the books holding up this camera setup is On Food and Cooking by Harold McGee. So, what more pop science can you get? Um, but yeah, Braiding Sweetgrass. I picked it up probably like I saw it come in used, which never happens. I picked it up and put it on my hold shelf like 3 or 4 months ago, probably. And then like a month ago, I picked it up and was just like, I think it's time. And I started reading it, and it has taken me about a month to read this book, which feels long, feels very long, given the last episode was on grievers or whatever, and I um, that one took me about maybe 4 hours total to read over the course of like two sittings. So yeah, a month feels long. Which is like kind of my only criticism, I guess, of the book, or negative. The only negative part of my reaction to the book, I think, is it is like 400 pages. It's like 370, 380 pages roughly. Not exactly like hugely spaciously typewritten either. Can't really read it, but you get the sense of the structure of a page, right? Like not a lot of breaks, not a lot of the Donald Bartlemy's like quip, 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 quip. One page is 80 words or whatever. It's all pretty dense. And it does feel like at points it got to the sort of repetitive, I guess. Like not that she wasn't saying new things or telling new stories, but it did sort of end up boiling down to the same sorts of things repeatedly, I think. Which is fine. I think this is supposed to be a book you sort of pick your way through and sort of sit with and live with. Part of my, I think, negative reaction is because I read it too fast, even though I read it faster than or slower than I've read most things in the last most of my life. Um, it feels like a book that wants you to grow with it. And that, I guess that's my only bummer is I feel like I've now talked to a number of people who were like, this fundamentally changed my outlook on things. And for me, it's not quite that. I think I have a greater appreciation for certain things, like the kinds of joy that reciprocity and responsibility can bring if if performed toward the natural world, and that's like interesting. And I think I'm still sort of working through it, but we'll see I mean, I'll see. I probably won't like come back to this in a year and be like, listen, listen, none of you. I've been sitting here with Braiding Sweetgrass, and now I get it. Um, but I don't know. Like, I was speaking with a friend who, um, boop, 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 who talked about how it brought them away from the like Matrix style, brought him away from the like Matrix style, like humanity is a virus, way of thinking about people, and toward an understanding of people as like, um, capable of gratitude and capable of having positive, or I mean, to use some of Kimmerer's terminology, like to establish a negative feedback loop, with nature, between humans and nature, and to understand humans as part of nature, and not, endlessly in a positive feedback loop where the thing keeps building and building and building until it blows up into something new or something nothing. Um, and like having a book being able to do that is like wild. That's incredible. Um I don't know that I've ever experienced that from any particular book. Um, that's just one friend, but I feel like everyone I've like ever since I started reading it, when people buy it at the bookstore, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about this far in, and their response is always like, oh, is it your first time? Oh yeah, I'm buying this for my friend because I gave the three other copies I already bought away to my other friends. Um, the cynical part of me, I guess, is like, how I wonder how many of these people are. Everyone, did everyone read all 380 pages of this? Probably not. I mean, I don't even know if that's particularly cynical. Like, that's what you do with books, right? You get them with the intention of going into them, and then I don't know. I've consistently been getting rid of all of my books, and I still have a stack of shit that I'm meaning to read. So yeah, that's not. I don't guess it's not a judgment. I'm just like, damn, this is a great gift book, and it's also a great book, I think, which is a fun turning of the tables. Um, I think there's just one other bit that I wanted to talk about. I mean, like there's great. I mean, Robin Wall Kimmerer is an incredible storyteller. That is like a number one here, right? Like very early on, she like tells a story about like a young man and his brother going fishing, and then, they can't catch anything, but on their way back, um, they like see some stuff and they realize it's like whole shelled pecans, and they like start gathering them up, and they're like, it's and Robin Wall Kimmerer is like, they, having an armful of pecans is like having an armful of tennis balls. The more you put on, the more fall off. Like, and then like they reveal that they like took off their pants and like tied the ends together and just are carrying as many as they can in their like pants bags, and that this is her grandfather also. Is like just like really solid storytelling. That was like 30 pages into this 400-page book, and I can still, it sort of like tell you, I can relate you to the story, and there are like 40 or 50 of those in this book, just like little anecdotes, little moments of like when Robin Wall Kimmerer was walking through the snow and like saw footprints, and then it leads into the Wendigo and how capitalism is the Wendigo in some ways. Um, it's not a radical book, I don't think. I don't think it's like, I don't know. Um, I'll table that. I guess I'm not really qualified to speak on her politics. I don't think. I'm not qualified to speak on a lot of things. But yes, I want to get to the one thing that I wanted to get to, which of course is a politics thing. Um, those of the none of you who are watching this, hopefully, are, might some of those none might be aware of my birthday poem, 32, which I made last year for the 2020 birthday. Um, in it, there's a bit where I talk about like, it's like, want to play a game, take a look around, account the people hiding in each and everything. The idea being that like, the commodity fetish is about the way that that commodities disappear relations between humans, um, that the camera that the camera I'm looking into right now, sitting on the lamp that it's sort of posted on the books that's posted on the desk that's posted on the floor, which is the ceiling of my downstairs neighbor's relationship. All of these were made things. That none of this is natural as such. They or it didn't appear out of nowhere. There was labor involved in from craftsmanship to design to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bit in this book, and I wish I could find it, but there's no way. I'm just gonna flip to it. Where Robin Wall Kimmerer does a sort of similar thing, except for with nature, with tracing things back to their individuated origins, like the spruce that went into the chair, the um, whatever pulp went into the paper that she's writing on, the you know same idea, but not abstracted to the level of human labor, but to sort of almost a first principles, but not principles, because first materials thing. And she talks about how doing that is much easier in certain settings than trying to do it with her laptop, which is like real, right? Like it is very hard to trace individual components of complex electronics, other than like to conflict minerals. um, uh, and that is not a sense of place that we have here, um, because it's done elsewhere. Um, I thought that part was really interesting. I kind of wanted, of course, I wanted her to talk more about not just how the thing comes to be in terms of like what kind of bark specifically had to be stripped to get the kind of um what do you call it? Like for basket weaving, there's a big basket weaving section here. She talks a lot about how you make baskets, and or like how a specific person has taught her to make baskets. Um, yeah, I wanted it. I wanted to have both, and it's fine that I don't this book doesn't, because I now have a better understanding not just of how each thing is a product of labor which is stolen, which is given a wage that is under its value to make profit, and how like part of that is the natural world. I guess this is the thing that that I get hung up on a little bit, is like Robin Welkimer is not at all unaware of the fact that like nature is man-made in almost every aspect. Not not just like, oh, we clear cut things and then replace them with what we want, in the sense that like the man and nature divide is an ideological one that comes from the creation of cities, right? Or even civilizations is probably actually a better, because I think you get some of that man versus nature shit in like Epic of Gilgamesh, so it's obviously not modern cities or whatever that create that divide, but there is no such thing as nature as outside of humanity until humanity understands itself as outside of nature. Um, yeah, and that's yeah. Maybe I'm not like talking about the book anymore. Maybe I'm just talking about things I am working through using this book, and that seems about as good a time as any to stop. Um, yeah, I Braiding Sweetgrass is very good. See no one, never again. No, no, no. I have it. That's Thanks for not watching.